Gaps between first and the first row and the third row, virtually 2 seconds separating pole setter Jack Kennedy and 7th place Mason Law on his GP2 bike. Kennedy, as you can see, with a 4-point advantage now, unexpectedly gifted him at Knockhill. Well, gifted him because he rode so well and got the results he needed. Brad Jones there, his teammate, 172 points. Ben Wilson, a lofty 4th place for the returning Lincolnshireman, ahead of Harry Truelove and Richard Kerr. Pole position is held then by Integro Yamaha and Jack Kennedy, ahead of his teammate Brad Jones. 1 minute 51.51 against 1 minute 51.7, and then Alistair Seeley 152.109 is in 3rd place on the front row of the grid. As you can see, number 20, Tom Oliver, making his return on his local track. There's Kennedy, Brad Jones and Alistair Seeley on the front row of the grid. And then Kyle Ryde, who I've spoken to and is desperate to get an overall victory ahead of the Supersport bikes. A whisker behind Seeley in 4th place. Lee Johnston, Ashcourt Racing in 5th. Tom Oliver making a welcome return on the SGR Yamaha is 6th. Mason Law in 7th place on the ABM Triumph, ahead of Jamie Perrin, fellow GP2 rider for Chassis Factory, and Kurt Wigley. And then Spud Nesbitt, I shouldn't really call him Spud anymore because he's grown into a tall teenager. Charlie Nesbitt, Bradley Peary and Scotsman Rory Skinner are on row 4. And they're ahead of Richard Kerr and Harry Truelove, who of course both appear at the moment in the top 6 ranking in the overall championship. And they're ahead of Thomas Strudwick, Ross Patterson, Phil Wakefield, Jack Scott. Altogether 26 riders on the grid then for the Dickies British Supersport Championship and British GP2 Cup. So beautiful conditions, very windy, but at least it's good to have mainly sunshine and only some distant black clouds drifting, thankfully, to the north of us at the moment. So that you're looking fairly much south on the picture. You can see that the skies over there are beautiful eggshell blue, high clouds, perfect conditions, and as Taz McKenzie said, the hope of more dependable weather tomorrow. Kennedy number 1 alongside Brad Jones number 12, the Integro Yamahas of Robin Appleyard's team, based up in West Yorkshire, alongside one another, ahead of the Ed Allingham team in that beautiful turquoise blue, and they all get a decent start. Brad Jones actually got a great gate on bike number 12. Can the number 2 Integro Yamaha hold it into the first turn? No, he can't. Kennedy gets around the outside, and look at Kyle Ryde. Kyle Ryde carves around the outside of Alistair Seeley through that thrillingly fast first turn, and then on to the brakes heavily into Wilson's, the hairpin. Oh dear, always a time to hold your breath as they go into there. But the 2 Integro Yamahas deal with it perfectly and immediately try to open up a gap on their pursuers. And then howling round the long right-hander. The long right-hander, the long left-hander, I beg your pardon, at Palmer's, and then heading to Agostini's. And Kennedy holds someone, and that, I think that's the returning Tom Oliver, who's coming back from that collarbone break. Definitely doing himself no favours there, and I suspect dropping back, yes, into 5th place.
Yeah, Jack Kennedy just out front there, his teammate Brad Jones in 2nd behind him, moving back down the field. Those two have pulled up quite a handy little gap on Seeley's in 3rd and got back past Kyle Ryde there.
So howling on to the Bentley Straight then.
Oh, here comes Jones.
Brad Jones with what he needs of a toll from Jack Kennedy, but he doesn't go late enough on the brakes to make a move past him.
It's not going to be long. Brad Jones having a fantastic season this season. Really sort of come of age. 3rd in the championship and just only sort of 20-odd points off the leaders. But it won't be long before he wins a race. He's been knocking on that door. You know, he had a great ride in the World Championship and he's really impressed me this season. Really coming of age, and you can see moody sky there, but you can see Brad Jones stalking, Kennedy's teammate.
So completing the first lap then, just a shake of the Yamaha's head for Brad Jones as he comes stonking out of the last turn, so he crosses the line just adrift of Kennedy. Kennedy leads it. Jones in second place. Jones making a move through on the inside. And then millimetres apart, the left and right elbows of the two as they go through the fast right-hander at Richards and then break for the hairpin. And typical Kennedy, he always makes his moves instantly if it's remotely possible. Great shot of them there going through the hairpin.
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? The only little thing is, all the time while they're just dicing with each other here, they're probably just allowing Seeley just to take a few tenths here, there, while they're snapping at each other. But great to see.
Behind them, Kyle Ryde once again leading the GP2 dash ahead of Tom Oliver. General Lee Johnston is 6th for Ashcourt Racing. Charlie Nesbitt 7th. Jamie Perrin and Mason Law dueling for 2nd place in the GP2 class. They are 8th and 9th overall ahead of Scotsman Rory Skinner and Irishman Richard Kerr.
And we're looking at Lee Johnson there, number 13. Great all-round rider there with that pink helmet.
And good to see Charlie Nesbitt moving up the ranking, but it's about time that the former Moto3 champ really showed his cards, I think, in the Supersport class. We haven't had much of a chance to see him so far. So Nesbitt then right on the back wheel of Lee Johnston. There are the race leaders. And as they cut through the big chicane and head round towards the bomb hole, Jack Kennedy tried to drag out a bit of space over his teammate Brad Jones.
And he has actually, he's done a really neat little section there. You can see Kennedy just nailed that. Such a technical, difficult section, the bomb hole there. You know, Nelson's before it, and he's really got that right. All the while, though, I reckon the fastest man on the track, and we'll have a look in a second, is probably the man in third, number 34, Alistair Seeley. I reckon he's taken a few tenths out of them on this lap. We'll have a little look as they come across the line. The lap record is a 151.3 held by...
and you're right, actually. Seeley was just a whisker behind, 10th of a second off. Fastest lap of the race, 151.8. That's Kennedy. 52.0 for Jones, 51.9 for Seeley. 52.6 for Kyle Ryde as the leader of the GP2 pack.
And you can see there, just Seeley just taking a whisper out of Jones, and it looks like Jones is a little bit quicker on this first part of the lap, and Kennedy's a little bit quicker on that last lap of part of the lap. But we'll keep a little eye on that. Keep an eye on Seeley as well. And then look slightly behind them, and we're moving back to, we can see Oliver, Johnson, Nesbitt, Perrin, and Law there. Number 5, obviously, he's coming back on the ADM Quattro bike, so, and apparently, he's just got a bit wide there. We're talking about, that's the man we're talking about. And apparently there's going to be a new version of that bike coming out of Drugston.
Number 4 on his back, of course, his traditional racing number, but number 1 on the number plate. Jack Kennedy doesn't, except for the number 1, doesn't like odd numbers at all, but number 1 he doesn't mind. So that handsome number 1 denoting he is the reigning champion. Number 12 right behind him, Brad Jones, the bespectacled young heating engineer from Stallbridge. There's Oliver, there's Lee Johnston, here's number 75, Jamie Perrin, just ahead now of Rory. Rory Skinner outbreaking himself into the left-hander, just holds on to it. The British Junior Talent Cup champion from last year. And he's ahead now of Mason Law, so he splits those two GP2 bikes on the Kawasaki, backed by Chris Walker.
Yeah, well, there's Perrin as well there as well, just in front of them, so he's also on a GP2 motorcycle. And you can see Skinner having a look as he made it. Look at that, it's Skinner, really nice lap there. He's gone past 2 guys, smooth, neat, tidy riding, so that's good to see there from Rory Skinner. But he might just be drafted here by Perrin. He pulls out, but he's not going to quite have the momentum. No, Skinner holds it.
That was one of the nicest illustrations of Rory Skinner's skill that we've had the chance to see yet this season, James, because he's not been quite far enough up the field for us to see much of him. Here's Mason Law making a move on Perrin, and he squeezes through neatly the former Superstock 600 champion.
Yeah, good to see sort of him up and riding well. Looks mean in all that black.
He does, doesn't he? Skinner's looking more at home now on that Kawasaki, James.
Yeah, well, it always takes a while to get the bike's dialed in, get used to it, and just get a feel. It's this halfway point in the season. You hope most people are now, getting the things working how they want to, getting the feel they want to, bonding with their teams, and starting to ride, how they want to ride rather than around possible problems with the motorcycles.
And there's a typical example, hounding Ashcourt Racing's Lee Johnston, number 86, the multicoloured HISC Rapid Fulfillment Racing Yamaha of Charlie Nesbitt, the lad from Swindon. off the back of his Moto3 Championship, headed to Spain, of course, rolled a season of the CEV Championship. Not an entirely happy one, and has returned to English shores.
Oh, look at John. You see the fueling of Johnson's bike there. Really, just you can see the unburned fuel is burning out the exhaust. Such a cool look. Flames crackling. Not so good when you're behind with the tear-off on that starts melting, but there's enough distance in it there for Nesbitt.
Kennedy has an advantage at the moment of 0.3 of a second with a 151.66 second lap over Brad Jones. Jones, though, still comfortably, his last lap 151.6 against a 151.68 and a 152.1. So Seeley, whoa, and that's Mason Law retaking that position from. It's amazing the moment I tell you how well someone's riding. Rory Skinner survives a big moment at the end of the back straight, and that's pitched the young Scotsman all the way back to 13th place.
Yeah, it has. Now that was interesting as well, that last lap. Kennedy, the man we're looking at, 151.4. The lap record is a 151.3, held from 2017 by Seeley. So you can see he really has got his head down now, Kennedy. He's trying to break. He is the championship leader, and this championship has yo-yo. Look at him coming to there. He's going to go a bit wide now. He pulls it back, beautiful. Jones still hanging on there in second, but this is another good lap from Kennedy, and I wonder whether this could be a lap record breaking lap. So close to that last lap.
On the 5th lap of 10 then, we're at half distance. And incidentally, there's something that I completely forgot to mention during the course of our data tag qualifying session. So write a very happy birthday to Christian Idden's girlfriend, Nikki, 28 years old today. There was a huge birthday cake being taken by Christian back towards the garages from hospitality earlier on this afternoon. I said, where are you taking that? He said, I'm mainly going to be taking it down my neck. He said, I'll be going to be eating a fair chunk of it later on.
Yeah, fair enough. And again, I'm going to be interested to see Kennedy as he comes down for the last bit of lap. We look back again, back at Johnson, back at Nesbitt.
And Nesbitt pestering away and behind the beautiful blue Ashcourt Racing Yamaha here. Yamaha, of course, dominating this particular racetrack, particularly because looking downfield, Ben Wilson, who's now 4th in the championship, down in 11th place as the leading Gearlink Kawasaki. His teammate Ross Twyman is in 23rd place, so Gearlink not having the happiest of outings just now in this beautiful afternoon sunshine. Tom Oliver, though, having a good return to racing. It just shows how if you just wait until you're fully fit, as Tom Oliver has done, and then come back to racing, in his case at his local track, the Essex lad, then you know, you can enjoy a race like this where you're running quite strongly in 5th place. Yeah,
I mean, it's always it's one of those sort of slight compromises. Obviously, you've got to be fit enough to ride the bike and such. Well, pass your medical test, but yeah, there's if you're in the championship, if you're going for the championship win and you have to get back for the points, then sometimes you have to. But as you say, sometimes it does count to take a fraction longer to come back and come back fit and be able to really challenge. Going back to Kennedy on that last time, it was a couple of times slower, 151.6, so he didn't quite get that lap record. He's now got a second lead over Jones, but behind Jones it is quite tight. He's got about a 1.5 second lead over Seeley, and that's your top 3. First GP2 bike is Ride in 4th, and then Oliver, Johnson, Nesbitt, and then Law in 8th, Kerr 9th, and then Perrin bringing out top 10 and 10th.
Perrin, of course, the 3rd of the GP2 bikes, ahead of Ben Wilson in 11th, Kurt Wigley. Skinner still in 13th after that unfortunate mistake. As we look at this constant battle again, look at the style of number 86, Charlie Nesbitt. He's really getting the hang of this 600cc Yamaha now. Yeah,
and again, as you say, he's definitely sort of grown out, changed shape a little bit from his early days on the Moto3 bikes, and got a nice style on the motorcycle too. And Johnson and the man in front of him, yeah, he's an ace on anything. So if you're sticking with him, you're doing a good job for sure.
It's a great contrast in riding styles on the same motorcycle, isn't it? With General Lee, the kind of more restrained, slightly old school road racer look to him, and then that absolutely modern style hanging off there, the number 86 Nesbitt.
Yeah, that different style, as you say, you know, head right down next to the fairing. It's, you know, it is the style now. Talking of those GP2 bikes as well, Paris, you know, the famous manufacturer, they've come back this weekend with Jack Scott and had a really good look at their bike number 55, ridden by Jack Scott. I mean, he's got a trellis frame for the first bit and this lovely sort of beam for the secondary chassis. It's really nice to see the Harris firstly coming out with the Moto 2 GP2 bike again. Great to see them in the championship. Great to see Jack Scott back as well, so we'll be keeping an eye. This is like a test for them, first race out, you know, getting the thing set up, trying to get some parameters for the chassis, and so it's good to see those guys back. Currently Scott is in 19th in a real battle with those GP2 bikes.
And this bunch led by Jamie Perrin, who's right in the mix there. Skinner, going off track again, but surviving. Here's Jamie Perrin ahead of number 41, Matt Truelove. And Kurt Wigley has just been overtaken by Truelove. Thomas Strudwick behind the three of them on his GP2 bike. He's running in 15th place. So that's 4 GP2 points, scoring points, which means that Patterson, Wakefield, Wootton will definitely be in the points if it carries on like this, because there's a bunch of GP2 bikes as we see number 44, Harry Truelove, move through past Ben Wilson. Past Jamie Perrin, I beg your pardon. Wilson just ahead of him. Here's number 11. And again, look at this battle of the... well, I'm sorry, Ben, but it is true that this young man just ahead of you, number 11, is young enough to be your son. There's a 37-year-old Lincolnshireman, Ben Wilson, on the beautiful green and orange Kawasaki. Chases the Kawasaki of Skinner.
He does indeed. Wilson in 10th there, but Wilson had a torrid qualified in 20th. So he's already taken 10 places to come to 10th. That man also, he's sitting 4th in the championship. You know, he's had 4 falls, and remember, he was 3 years out with these awful injuries. So, you know, he's always had that kind of wobbly, uncomfortable style. He's all action. So he really is doing a magnificent job to come back and be fighting it out. As I say, not the best qualifying. It's been stacked against him for the race, but you can't help but be impressed with Wilson.
And he lost about half a second on the last lap to Harry Truelove, so he's just got to watch out a little bit at the moment. Ben Wilson running in 11th place, which is worth a couple of places higher, of course, with the 2 GP2 bikes ahead. Richard Kerr now being caught by number 11, Rory Skinner. So Skinner's making a good job of hauling back the top places, as we saw a rather loose Kurt Wigley there moving inside Jamie Perrin.
Yeah, and you can see there, Seeley, look at that. He took a big chunk out on that lap 6, took out nearly a second, and that's just putting Jones under a little bit of pressure there. He's got it down to 0.6 of a second, and he can really smell blood now, Seeley. Look at that, he doesn't waste any time at all, dives straight up the side of Nelson's into the bomb hole. Now what can Brad Jones do? Can he bite back? Only a couple of laps to go.
So we're on the 8th lap of 10 here in the Dickies British Supersport sprint race. And Alistair Seeley, desperate not to shed too many points to race leader Jack Kennedy. The gap between them at the moment is 4 points in that championship.
Yeah, it is tight, and it just looks so weird after Kennedy breaking his scaphoid at Donington. You know, Seeley getting 50 points. You thought, oh, it's really gone his way. And then let's have a look. This is Seeley. Watch him. He just goes up the inside here, makes him just sit up a second. Hard but fair. Good move. He just and he's ahead. But what can Jones do? Jones will certainly not be giving up yet.
On the penultimate lap, James, you took the words out through my mouth. Here we go. As Alistair Seeley then on the EHA Racing Yamaha, number 34. As James was alluding to, he did look to have taken such a momentous lead in the championship after we lost Kennedy for with that cracked scaphoid. It's amazing how live sport can turn around. Here comes Brad Jones.
Oh, certainly
and
does.
He this time returns the favour and sits up Seeley.
Do you know what? Nice, again, nice, neat, you know, hard but fair move there. It's good stuff from Jones. He absolutely nailed his apex. You know, didn't run him wide, and look at his stance. You know, he almost, again, he's really developing as a rider, isn't he? We've seen him come on, great team. He did a fantastic job, and you know, he really is sort of coming on, and he wants that second spot. He wants that, and also he knows that is going to help his teammate a lot. If he can finish ahead of Seeley here, he's not going to beat Kennedy, but if that Integro Yamaha beats Kennedy, it's going to be very helpful. But look at this. Kennedy whips out the inside. Oh, sorry, Seeley rather. Seeley whips up the inside. Is he going to run it wide? He might just cut across here. Not quite.
This is another kind of virtual father and son affair, really, with 39-year-old Seeley ahead of the 21-year-old number 12 Brad Jones, and the two of them pretty much on the limit now. Jones looking underneath for a moment as they enter Corums. This is the coming round to start their final lap then.
I tell you what, that was quick there as well. You could see what his brain was thinking. He had a really good look there. He's got to get a good drive here as we cross the line for the last lap. Kennedy goes across. What's he got? He's in the 52, he's 152.2. Then the two men behind him, both on 52.7s. And Brad Jones, he's not going to have long. He is on the last lap. This is the battle for second.
Jack Kennedy in the distance looks at, oh, look at that very, very defensive line by Alistair Seeley. He knows that he can just keep, if he can protect that line into the hairpin, that's one overtaking place already taken care of.
Now, did Jones show his hand a lap too early? This is where he built up. He had that really sweet run coming down into where was he coming into?
Into Agostini's.
Agostini's, wasn't it?
Again, Seeley goes right over to the left. Jones tries to think about running the long way around the outside. Can't do that because, of course, the next turn is a left-hander as well. He'll need to be on that left-hand side if he possibly can.
Well, he's just got to keep the pressure on. The one thing about Seeley, though, he is small. You know, he's small, he's lighter than Jones, so he's got that probably a little bit at the end of the straight. They're both on identical Yamaha, you know, they're both on Yamaha R6s, so there's not going to be a lot in it, but will that just pay a little bit?
And Jones used a lot of curb on the inside to try and just get the biggest run he could onto the Bentley straight. But I don't know whether he's close enough, and he's having to go to the wrong side of Seeley. Seeley moves across, makes sure that there's no way that he's going to move through there. So he's coming down to the very last bend. And that means that Jones has got to stay close. He's got to get closer than this, James, if he's to launch something into that final turn.
He has indeed, but is Seeley going to just be a bit defensive, a bit tight? Is he going to get him on the run to the line? Could he pull it up the inside going into Russell's?
As they come all the way round then to the final. There's the final left-hander for Jack Kennedy. Kennedy goes through it. Oh, sweet as you like, Seeley goes through. Now it's the long drag race to the line. Jack Kennedy takes another victory in the 2019 Dickies British Supersport Championship. And as they cross the line, it's Jones has grabbed it.
He did.
Jones grabbed it absolutely on the line by 300ths of a second. Here's Kyle Wright storming the hill. He finishes ahead of Tom Oliver. Johnston, Law, Nesbitt gets squeezed back behind. Mason Law, good ride by Law in 7th place. Nesbitt in 8th. 9th for Harry Truelove. He gets the better of Richard Kerr, Rory Skinner, Ben Wilson, 12th, 13th, Kurt Wigley. 14th, a good ride by Tom Strudwick, who got his GP2 bike ahead of that of Jamie Perrin. But these two got 1st and 2nd places. And good to see a handshake between Seeley, who must be a bit frustrated with that, and Jack Kennedy.
But what about Jones? He slipstreamed him to the line to beat him by 300ths of a second. It was that tight, and you could see what he was planning. Seeley was so clever on that last lap. You know, he was covering the inside, made it real difficult, but Jones kept his head, and look at this. This is the run for the line he's pulled out, and boom, that's what 300ths of a second looks like, so nothing in it.
Wow, that was a good move then, because as you say, Seeley had done all the defending he felt he needed to do on that final lap.
No, really good stuff there, but great for his championship again. You know, that pulls out another, 9 points, so that's a 13-point lead.
And that was